Today we are in Mark chapter 8, verse number 27. And Christ is about to reveal himself for the very first time. And today I want to focus on why it was so difficult for the Pharisees and everyone else throughout Israel to understand who Jesus was. So let's start with some background. Many of the Pharisees and scribes and people throughout all of Israel, they were already expecting a Messiah to come according to the teachings of the old prophets from the Old Testament. For instance, the prophet Malachi said, "Behold, I will send to you Elijah before the great and awesome day of the Lord." Already they were expecting a Messiah to come, but they were expecting him to be like a prince, somewhat clothed in majestic garments, grandeur or power, which leads us into the story today. So Jesus, now along with his disciples, pulls them to the side and he asks them the question, "Who do the people say I am?" The disciples begin to explain to him, well, there are some people that believe you are John the Baptist. There are some that believe you are Elijah. And there are some people who believe you're one of the prophets from old. We have good news and we have bad news. The good news is they don't see Christ as some evil person yet. They see him as a man of God, sent to do miraculous things because they match him with people like John the Baptist and Elijah or one of the old prophets. The bad news is they don't realize that he's the Messiah. But here is the question. Why don't the Pharisees and the scribes and all the people throughout Israel who have encountered Christ, why are they unable to recognize him? And this is the reason why. So we jump back to the story. Now Jesus asks his disciples, "So who do you say I am?" And Peter comes out and says, "You are the Son of God." This is a huge off-the-wall statement to make. I mean, Jesus has never revealed himself to these disciples as being the Son of God. Many of the theologians during that day, they're not even calling Jesus the Son of God. So how did Peter come up with such a revelation? Jesus confirms to Peter by saying that flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. Basically, Jesus is saying you can't understand who Christ is with your own fleshly and worldly knowledge. In order to see Christ, it has to be revealed to you by God. Jesus makes this clear in John chapter 6, verse 44. Jesus says, "No man can come to me unless the Father draw him." So in summary, Jesus is saying almost two things. One, if you have the wrong expectation of how Christ will come, then you won't see him. And number two, nothing will happen unless God chooses to reveal his Son to us.